Hi, it's Steve Morrison here, and you're listening to Chat with Chaps, chatting Millwall, come rain or shine.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Chat with Chaps live round table. Lots and lots to talk about in this hour, and obviously a lot's happened, good and bad, over the last sort of 24 hours or so. So we will sort of cover as much as we can as we lead through this sort of busy transfer window at the moment. On tonight's live, two guys that don't need no introduction. To the left of me, someone who sounds like should be in the Italian mafia. I hope it's not from Albania, but I hope it is Italian. Is Angelo Miliotto. How you doing, mate?
Yeah, all good, Joe. Yeah, all good, mate. Looking forward to tonight. Thanks for having me on.
Good. And it is Italian, isn't it? Your ancestry line.
Italian, mate. Yeah, my parents come from Sicily, actually, mate. So mafioso. Yeah.
Oh, really? I can tell from your Italian accent. You.
Yeah.
And but below me, a gentleman called Steve Morton, who you would be surprised to see him 2 a.m. in a Bolton nightclub. So, Steve, how you doing, mate? You all right?
That's only if you're with me, Joe. That's for sure.
That's right. You're my pudding partner, my wingman.
Spot on.
How you doing, Steve?
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks thanks for inviting me on. Look, really interesting. I think the last time Angelo and I were both on, or certainly I was, what a difference it makes. It was the week England were in the Euros final. We just signed Langstaff, Jaffet, and Jensen, and we thought the world is a great place and we're going to have a great season. And here we are tonight under a slightly different situation. So
what you're saying is it was great and wonderful back then, Steve, but it's fucking shit now.
A good summary. Thank you.
Yeah, exactly. Well, hopefully we'll get you through this and cheer you listeners up a little bit. And lots of positives to talk about. I know there's a few negatives, and we will sort of cover those things off. We're not going to shy away from it, but there's lots of positives to talk about as well. To the listeners, guys, thank you very much for joining us. What I'm going to do this time is, if you don't mind, I'm going to go through a few points with Angelo and Steve. We're going to cover off quite a few topics, which we'll cover, which has gone over the last couple of days. And we'll talk about yesterday's game. We're going to talk about the transfers and the loan and transfer rumours coming up. Once we've kind of got through all this, we're then going to go to the comments, and we're going to try and read and answer every one of your comments. So please keep the comments coming through. We will get to you. But to start things off, we'll start with you, Angelo, and then we'll go to Steve next. So, Angelo, take the stage. What do you think of last night's performance?
Last night's performance, probably one of the worst performances that I can recall, mate. It was absolutely dreadful. I don't think we had one shot on target. It was one of them games that, honestly, you're just thinking, what the hell is going on here? Do you know what I mean? One thing I want to say as well, Joe, is obviously we're on this show tonight because we love Millwall, yeah? And all the guys that are listening to us, they're listening because they love Millwall. So what we're going to have tonight, we're going to have the Harris backers and we're going to have the Harris haters. And, we're all entitled to our own opinion. So, I really look forward to hearing from the Harris haters and obviously hearing from the Harris lovers. Do you know what I mean? So, just say it as you want, guys. And obviously when we come to the comments, we'll have a good discussion. But like I said, everyone's entitled to their own opinion about Mr. Harris, yeah? So the game last night, it's just dreadful, mate, isn't it? The performances were really, really drab, mate. There was really no shining light at all in the whole of the game. The only positive that I took was I did see little glimpses of that new guy, Daniel Kelly. There was little bits that I liked, like his aggression. Because like when you saw pictures of him, he looked like a little kid come out of school, didn't he? But he was getting stuck in, mate. And I know he only played 45 minutes, but I saw enough of them 45 minutes that with a bit of progression in training, I think there is definitely a player there. Do you know what I mean? And I found, I've only ever seen Alfie Massey once, and I've only ever seen Daniel Kelly, obviously last night. I feel like Daniel Kelly's a step ahead of Massey, but they've both got good qualities that hopefully in the future they could be our two midfielders going forward. Do you know what I mean? So that's the only positive I took out of last night, mate. To be honest with you, and I hate calling out players, but that Aziz, he had a terrible first game, didn't he? His mistake in the midfield is obviously what cost us that goal. And then Murray Wallace really didn't cover himself in glory. He should have stopped that guy from going around him. He was just outside the penalty box. He could have brought him down or whatever. But I feel like the guy got past him too easy. So absolute drab performance, mate.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you picked up on Danny Kelly. There's a few players I want to talk about in this sort of opening section of this live. So we want to talk about him now. I mean, I agree with you. When I first saw him, and he looks very sort of childish sort of features, quite young. And when I saw him play last night, I agree with you. I saw this kind of tenacity in him, this sort of strength, this bit of desire, and a little bit of athleticism in some sort of ways. And it reminded me, and don't get excited, lads. I'm not trying to make any real comparisons here, but it reminds me of a Steven Gerrard. When Gerrard broke into the Liverpool team, it was just like this youngster, this kid. You look at him thinking, what's this kid going to do? But he's not afraid to get stuck in. He puts his foot in, he puts tackles in. Again, I'm not trying to say he's as good as Gerrard, but what I'm saying is that young sort of player coming through that's almost like ahead of himself. Young, what do you call it? Is it an old head on young shoulders? That kind of mentality, What about yourself, Steve? What's your thoughts on yesterday's performance? How do you felt the game panned out for you?
I'd love to be controversial and say I thought we did all right.
Yeah.
Look, it was absolute dog shit, wasn't it? And you think it's going to improve a little bit. I do think Bomber rallied them at half time, and we did start the second half quite well. But in fairness to Orient, I think they did a really good job of breaking up the game. And there was 20, 30 minutes of that second half. It was just stop, start, just what they wanted. But look, terrible. What I expected, 8 changes. It's going to be a bit disjointed. New players making their debuts. You're playing a lower league team, London Derby. You can argue Orient's Cup final if you like. All that. And look, we've been on the winning side of big, cup winning scalps and what have you. So it happens, And I think, look, the reality, it wouldn't have been the end of the world for me if we'd have lost yesterday, or as we did lose. It was the manner of how we lost was absolutely terrible. We were woeful.
You made a point there, Steve, about the 8 changes, and hindsight's a wonderful thing, isn't it? We can look to the future. But do you think it was a good thing, to make so many changes? Or, I mean, obviously it hasn't quite worked out for us. But going back, if you were Harris back at the start of that time, would you have still made those changes? Do you think it was necessary to make those changes?
Joe, I have to say at this point, because my mate will kill me for not saying it, Orient made 6 changes as well, by the way.
Right, okay.
Makes it even worse, apparently.
Right.
But no, look, I think that starting lineup, taking opinions from friends and etc. I think most people were quite excited by that lineup, other than the centre halves maybe, but an understanding of having a bit of experience in there with so many younger heads. But they just didn't perform, did they? I mean, like you say, Angelo, I desperately don't want to crucify the guy. One game, you can have a bad game and what have you. But Aziz did worry me, didn't look great at all. Imaku, been crying out for him to get more game time. Body language was all wrong for me. Didn't look really that interested, and a bit lost. And the biggest disappointment was Langstaff, couldn't trap a bag of cement, could he? But I would say for Langstaff, he looked to me like he was trying too hard, to impress and get involved, and he needed to calm down a bit. But look, the changes, no, I think it was justified. You're always going to be a bit disjointed. You could have done look, I've heard people say Tanganga should have played because he needs game time. Can you imagine him playing and getting a knock? Remember Ryan Leonard last year got a knock in that Reading game, didn't he? And
really good point.
Not the Reading game, the Leicester. Was it the Leicester Cup game?
It was the Leicester Cup game. They shouldn't really have to play exactly. And so, same question to you, really. I mean, firstly, were you surprised, or was you happy with the 8 changes that were played? Do you feel that maybe they needed a bit of rotation and trial out fringe players? And do you feel, obviously, that they took the advantage, the opportunity? Some will say not. I mean, Steve mentioned about Langstaff and Imaku. I mean, a lot of Millwall fans have been crying out for these 2 guys to start and get minutes. Clearly, they didn't really take the opportunity. What's your thoughts on that, anyway?
Well, Joe, when you look at that team on paper last night, mate, we should win that game 9 times out of 10 every time. Do you know what I mean? Like, the team was decent. The team was decent, mate. And at the end of the day, I know Neil Harris is not on social media yet, but they must all have burner accounts or something, mate, because he said it in his interview, didn't he? The fans have been calling for Langstaff. The fans have been calling for Imaku. Yeah. And 100%, I do agree that it was the right selection to give these guys a chance. Now, with Imaku, I'm a massive Imaku fan, yeah? When he came on against Watford, he changed the game, mate. There's no two ways about it. He changed the game and he nearly won us the game. I think the problem with Imaku is he doesn't handle pressure very well, mate. And I think there's now this thing hanging over his head where everyone's saying he's only good as an impact player off the bench. Yeah.
Do you agree with that point, Angelo? I mean, a lot of people have been saying that, but then I would argue that he probably had his best game. Probably was our man of the match against Portsmouth when he started that game, didn't he?
Yeah, he played decent.
Oh, sorry,
and do you know what? There was a game last season. Was it Preston away? He played up front. Mate, he looked immense that day. Like the defenders couldn't handle him. Do you know what I mean? I genuinely believe in Maku there is definitely a very, very good player there. But I think he lacks self-belief, and I think he might not handle the pressure very well, mate. And I think that's where we need to work on him. So maybe let's just keep bringing him on as a sub, as an impact sub, until he gets his confidence levels up. And then, when he starts doing it every single game, then we'll throw him in, mate. Do you know what I mean? He is only young. And I think at Shamrock Rovers, if I'm correct, he was only playing part-time football over there. So this is a big step for him. Do you know what I mean? And he had some injuries. He had some injuries last season.
Absolutely.
I hope we don't send him out on loan, mate. I hope we keep him. And let's just keep bringing him on every game off the bench, mate. That's my opinion.
I agree. And also, there's an argument to say, look, these players need minutes. They need to make mistakes. They need to kind of learn their craft almost. I mean, Harris was quite persevering with Esse, wasn't he? I mean, he was starting him games, probably wasn't quite setting the world alight. But by him persisting with him and giving him the minutes, you could argue that Roman Esse is becoming a good player. Why can't we do the same with Imaku, of course?
Yeah, Joe, can I just say on that point, mate? Esse against Watford was absolute dog shit. Do you remember? Yeah. Everyone was going crazy. But mate, since that game, his defensive duties are out of this world. The tracking back he's been doing, and he's obviously scored 2 goals, and he should have had 2 assists, mate. Both one for Honeyman down at Portsmouth. He put it on a plate for him, and there was another one as well. I can't remember which game. He put it on a plate again. It might have been up at Hull. But with them 2 goals that he scored, Esse, they were almost identical goals, weren't they? And he just proves that if you put him in that position, the 10 position, get him in that box, he is very, very, very good, mate.
I agree.
Yeah, but his defensive duties have come on bundles, mate. Really impressed with the guy.
Brilliant. Also, we touched on it very, very early in the show, and we don't want to sort of dwell on this too much. But Angelo, what was your thoughts on Hutch and Muzza? I mean, they both started yesterday. You can argue that they did minutes, they did game time. 2 very experienced pros. But what was your thoughts on their performance? And do you feel there's a future for them in this team this season?
Well, do you know what, Joe, right? Let's be honest, right? Both of them. So Hutch was 2-3 weeks behind everybody else fitness-wise. He got slaughtered at Bristol City, and I didn't really put... I'm possibly only put 1 goal down to Hutchinson at Bristol City. I think Lenny had a shitter that day. Which is totally unlike him. And obviously we forgive him for, because he's such a good player at the moment. But he's obviously... Hutch is... a little bit behind, so he needed them minutes last night. And obviously Muzza, that's his first 90 minutes, mate, after he had a serious back injury. These guys, they are loyal Millwall players, but they're not the future. We know they're not the future, but to have them around the squad is always going to be good. But sadly, we need to be bringing on younger players. But I think we've just been a little bit too heavy, especially on Hutch, mate. I still think he's 100% match fit now, So
no, I agree. Steve, do you agree with that point? And how much of an effect do you think Tanganga has made by coming back? I mean, there's lots of question marks whether or not against Hull he'll be able back to his best, whether it might take him 2 or 3 games to get somewhere near to where the form was last season. Do you feel that him coming back is making a difference, or will make a difference for the next sort of 3 or 4 games that we so desperately need to start putting some points on the ball and win some games?
Yeah, definitely. Listen, I thought he was really, really good at Hull. Yeah, a little bit rusty, but made a massive difference. You can just see oozes quality, the guy. That's a great signing for us, and permanent as well. So, without a doubt, look, I don't want to drag up old ground, but for me, I can't believe we let Alex Mitchell go to Charlton. I just think the guy never got a chance. Charlton are loving him. Apparently, he's tearing it up. Loves a challenge. Loves getting stuck in. Just feels like he's what we could have done with regards to those 2 old stalwarts.
Can I ask you a question, Steve? Would he get in ahead of Tanganga and Cooper, in your opinion?
No.
So would you argue maybe that you can see the logic? You can see the logic that he desperately wants to play first team football, so he's pushing for first team football, and I'm sure he would love to play for Millwall in the first team.
Yeah.
If that option's not there, do we really send him out on loan again? I mean, it would be like his third, fourth loan. So you could kind of almost understand the frustrations from our lot, but also why the club decided that this part ways. You're not better than what we've got at the moment. We bid you well, and make that deal happen for him and for us.
But I can't believe they couldn't have the conversation. Look, you're one of 4. You're one of 4 centre halves.
Maybe they might have done.
You never know, injuries. You never know.
Yeah.
You could end up being
again. Hindsight's a wonderful thing.
He desperately said, "I want to be guaranteed number 1." No chance. We couldn't do that. So I get you.
I'm sure those questions would be had because they're not stupid. Millwall. They know that he had a great loan at Lincoln, and obviously he's doing really well at the moment. So they know he's got something about it, but they also know that he's probably not ready at the moment. And it's no point keeping the players unhappy. He doesn't want to be there, So I can understand that.
I get that.
Yeah.
Look, I think out of the 2, I do think Muzza, bless him, a real stalwart, but he's had his twisty, twisting and athleticism. He's apparently a very fit guy, isn't he? As running and all that.
Yeah, always the fittest guy, the first guy back from season that runs the furthest and all the rest of it. Angelo, over to yourself. With regards to Tanganga, what effect do you think he does to the side? I mean, prior to Tanganga's game at Hull, everyone was calling out the likes of Ryan Leonard. They were moaning a bit about Cooper not quite being on it, and Joe Bryan making mistakes. But then suddenly, Joe Bryan, Cooper, and Leonard probably had one of their best games of the season against Hull, along with Tanganga. Do you feel he kind of installs a bit of confidence into that back 4, having him in that place, kind of gets the best out of them in some ways?
I still can't believe we got him, mate. He is absolutely class, the geezer. He, in my eyes, he's a £10 million centre half, mate. He is a Rolls Royce.
He is a Rolls Royce.
I think he got beat once at Hull and then pulled the geezer back and took a yellow card, didn't he?
Yeah,
I think that was the only one. And he also had a couple of shots on goal, didn't he? With a couple of volleys as well.
Yeah.
But it's obvious, mate. And apparently he gets on with the group. He's a leader. He's one of the best trainers.
Is he?
He lifts the levels of training every day.
I know they love him. You could tell by from the end of season awards. The way the players were lifting him up and singing his song, and mate, he's definitely loved there, isn't he?
As long as he can keep fit and he don't get injured, right? We are so lucky to have him, mate. And to be honest with you, when you look at that defence against Hull on Saturday, I'm loving it, mate. Joe Bryan had his best game. Lenny is Lenny. He had one bad game at Bristol City. He was out of this world last year. Cooper is Cooper. Cooper's got his haters. Cooper's got his lovers. I think we're a better team with Cooper in it. And Tanganga is a Rolls Royce. And Jensen, obviously, man of the match as well, There
you go. And up at that point, I think a lot of fans were writing Jensen off, weren't they? They're calling for Roberts to be in goal. And again, having someone like Tanganga at the back, it just shores everything up, doesn't it? It gives everyone confidence, and everyone plays to their highest ability. Just want to touch on Esse, Angelo. I'm a massive fan of Roman Esse. If I turn my head there, you can see I've got his shirt there on my wall. Used to be Zian Fleming. You notice I've now taken Zian off. He's down there somewhere.
In the toilet.
Exactly. I love Zian. I really do. But Esse's the future. Something about him last night, I just felt that, okay, he was rested. We know why he was rested. He's been playing 90 minutes every game this season almost. But when he came on, I saw a different side of him. I saw a maturity of Esse, almost like a bit of swagger. He sort of came on the pitch and he was like, right, I'm the best player here. Give me the ball. I'm going to do something with it, and I'm going to make things happen. I'm going to make shit happen. Would you go as far as agreeing with that? Did you see something different in his attitude? Did you?
Yeah, did you see when Lenny come on as well? Lenny was growling. He had that bit in his teeth.
Yes.
And Esse had the same.
Almost rubbing his hands like, come on, let's get.
Yeah, it was almost like fucking hell. It was almost like, come on, guys, we've got to sort this out. And that was Esse. Do you know what I mean? I could feel that.
Youngest player in the team. Yeah.
Yeah, and do you know what, mate? Honestly, from the bad performance against Watford to what he's doing now shows the character of the boy, mate. You know, and I've got massive hopes for him.
What do you make of him playing in that number 10 role? Because he played about 15 minutes, I think it was, or 15, 20 minutes at number 10 before Harris shoot him out on the right again. But what did you think in that period, him playing in the middle, where he didn't necessarily have the defensive duties, having to sort of track back as much? He was almost allowed to play, express himself, get on the ball, make things happen. Do you see that as his best position? Do you feel that's where you're going to get the best out of Roman Esse?
Well, Joe, we're 5 games in, right, with the 2 cup games, right? He scored 2 goals from inside the box where the defenders are scared to tackle him because his feet are so quick. Like, Esse has not got pace, but he's got very, very quick feet. And if you play him in the 10, he's going to get in that penalty box more often than not. If he's not going to score, he's going to get us a few penalties as well, mate. So in my opinion, it's going to be hard for him to get into that number 10 because Zian, right? But when Zian comes back. But yeah, I think if we get him in that number 10 in the penalty box, mate, he's gonna bear us a lot of fruit, mate. I really do.
Excellent. So moving forward, I'm sure lots of you saw the Neil Harris interview. Some of them were quite contrasting. He done one with BBC London, which I think was like literally 5 minutes after the final whistle. You could see it was raw. You could see it was quite emotional, and he did sort of express himself in a certain way. I think he had time to calm down, and he spoke with I believe it might be Max or Mark from Wall Talk, and done his perhaps a little bit more diplomatic reply after the game. But looking at the BBC one, he mentioned Angelo about players knocking on his door on a Friday, asking to play, and how he gave them minutes, and how they basically haven't delivered for him, and does expect them to knock on his door again. What do you make of that interview? Are you in favour of that? Do you feel that's a good thing? He's been open and honest, or do you think he should have been a bit more diplomatic rather than sort of like throw players under the bus? Or do you think it's a good thing? Do you think it's a good thing for the players to sort of hear that, to get them to sort of step up and grow up and mature a bit, maybe?
Yeah, I'm bang on the fence with it, Joe, mate. I don't think it's that bad. I don't think it's that bad, but I don't think it's that good either. I'm really, really on the fence. One of my pals messaged me just before we come online, and he said he was a bit harsh on Imaku and Langstaff or whatever. But so I went back and listened to the interview. Yeah, he does actually in his interview have a go at the established pros as well. He said my leaders weren't there tonight either.
Right,
we were lacking leadership tonight. Yeah, so he's having a pop at them as well. So that's a pop at Saville.
Or even Hutch and Murray Wallace.
Yeah, and Honeyman, so indirectly he had a pop at them as well, mate, which...
he wasn't happy, was he?
Knowing what Harris is like, even if he does rip them, you know what he's like. At the training ground, he'll put his arm around them, he'll build them back up, mate. He's a motivator, and I'm pretty sure that he knows what he's doing, But I'm on the fence, Joe, to be honest with you.
Yeah, Steve.
With the public shaming.
Yeah. Steve, Angelo's on the fence, and he's got splinters in his arse at the moment. Are you on the fence as well, or are you? Do you agree or disagree with Harris's interview? What's your thoughts on that? I'm sure you've seen it.
Yeah, listen, I think first and foremost, 30 minutes after the game, 40 minutes. Look, it's a tough old gig. The old passion will be pumping through his veins.
And he cares, right? Yeah, he cares.
He won't have enjoyed that.
A manager who doesn't give a shit would have said all the right stuff and given all the textbook answers, but he was being emotional and honest, weren't he?
Correct. So no, in this wokey world of being nice to everybody, fuck that. Tell people how it is. I do agree with Angelo. The balance of triggering Imaku, etc. But he'll put his arm around him, no doubt, at the training ground and put him right on it. and prove that he was right as such. But he did as well admit that he'd made mistakes, which, look, you don't hear a lot of managers saying that.
True.
He admitted his selection, well, not so much the players. It sounded like he just threw an 11 together to give them game time. And as we said, should be good enough to go out and win. Didn't necessarily concentrate on a system and a pattern of play and a man v man, etc., which, look, I thought was very honest of him to say that, you know. So, no, I don't have a mate. And I think as well, Angelo, you said it, he didn't really call them out, you know, terrible, did he? You couldn't sit there and say, that was outrageous, you know, he's ruined the guy's career. So bad,
he didn't do a Troy Deeney.
No, exactly.
No, exactly.
Well, Joe, what do you think, mate? What do you think about
I think I'm kind of for it. I think as a Millwall fan, as a supporter, I think you kind of demand a bit of honesty, don't you? You want to hear it as it is. You know, you don't want to be fed a load of lies and bullshit. You want to hear it as it is, and that's how he feels. And it sounds like, you know, he's had a lot of pressure from players knocking on his doors, moaning about game time and all the rest of it. And let's be honest, fans have been asking for it as well. And he's given them the opportunity. He's given them the chance to go out there, express themselves and do what they want to do and give them a good problem to have. And they failed, didn't they? They haven't delivered. They haven't taken that opportunity. So I think a little bit of frustration from his part, because I think, you know, he would love them to prove him wrong. Of course he would. But they haven't done that. And I think that's part of why he was so upset, maybe, not just with himself, but also in them letting themselves down, really, you know?
Yeah.
So we had a bit of a shit sandwich. We started really nicely. We talked about all the shit stuff and all the depressed stuff in the middle. Let's try and end it off with a bit of positivity. So transfers, Steve. Transfers. Now, a lot happens when it comes to Millwall transfers. We can go like weeks with nothing. Then we can sort of sign 2 or 3 players in one day.
Yeah.
There's no surprises after yesterday's performance and Harris not being very happy and us not being very happy as fans. That suddenly there's been lots of rumours. A lot of it's been leaked out by Richie Cowley. If you guys are on Twitter or any kind of social platforms, you would have seen it today. And it's been a few players, a few names branded out. One of them, which I believe is over the line now, I had to check with Angelo before it came live because I had to coach my son's football team at training. So I kind of missed the last sort of couple of hours. So I understand the Ryan Wintle transfer is done. And it's a loan transfer, is that right?
I believe so, yeah.
You talking to me, Joe?
So I'll talk to you, Steve. We'll go to you after, Angelo.
Yeah, I think it is a loan, isn't it? Yeah, it has been confirmed, definitely on the Millwall website. And there's been some comments from some Cardiff fans, as you would expect. So I've actually replied and asked them, genuine, what do you think of him? And a couple have said he's a bit of a bad egg. But I said, is that because he wasn't getting game time?
Really? That's interesting.
And they sort of intimated, it's that, but also off the pitch, he's a bit of a bad egg. And one guy did say, I said, genuinely, what's he like as a player? And he said, he doesn't pass forward much.
Great.
He'll put the odd good cross in, but overall, he's a decent player. So make of that what you will. I'm prepared to give the guy a chance and let's see what he can do.
Yeah, I mean, Angelo, it sounds like he's a bit of a squad player. He's not someone who's going to come in there at the moment and probably take Casper's shirt or Saville's shirt from the sounds of it. I've done some research into him earlier. He's had 117 appearances, scored 5 goals, had 8 assists. Apparently Stoke and Blackburn were after his signature as well, weren't they? And I think we beat them to signing him. But what's really interesting, to Steve's point, Angelo, is that Errol Bullitt, who's the manager for Cardiff, has fallen out of him big time, to the point where even their pre-season tour, wherever it was, I think it's like in Germany where it might have been, he didn't include Ryan Whittle in that actual group of players that went out there with him. So he's really kind of outed him. You know, I believe he's not even trained with the first team. So 1, is he going to be match fit, Angelo? 2, what does it say about a player and whether or not he's good enough to play for us? If he's not good enough to play for Cardiff, what can he do for us?
Yeah, Joe, I think your figures might be a little bit off, mate, because he hasn't been a bit part player. He had 163 appearances over
this season.
No, 163 appearances over 6 years at Crewe, and then at Cardiff, mate, he's had 110 appearances, and he didn't play last year. So he went to Cardiff 2021. So
yeah,
110 appearances in 3 years, not too bad, is it, mate?
No,
Yeah?
and also the crew stats. He shows it's quite a loyal servant. Sort of someone sort of like jumps in and out.
He's obviously got experience, mate. I think he's 27 years old. Listen, I'm not excited, but like everyone, we got to give him a chance, haven't we, mate? Yeah, let's put him in the blue shirt. Let's have a look at the guy, support him, and surprisingly, I thought he played under Neil at Cardiff, but he didn't. If you listen to the Millwall interview, he says, "I've heard Harris is a great manager to play for."
Right, that's interesting.
He's never played for Harris. So
because a lot of fans. A lot of fans would have thought that, wouldn't they? A lot of fans would have put two and two together, thinking, "Oh, is it an ex-Cardiff player that Harris would have known?" But absolutely spot on. Also, there's been another rumor. Again, Richard Cowley leaked this one out. Mihailo Ivanovic, Serbian striker. Angelo, you've looked at his sort of like his highlight reels. I know highlight reels are always going to show you the best of a player. I mean, God, even if Alan Campbell had a highlight reel, it'd probably look like Pirlo, wouldn't he? You know, if you wanted to make him look that good. But what's your thoughts? And you said you saw a little bit of him early, done some research. What's your thoughts on him as a player?
Do you remember the highlight reel for Scalak?
Yes.
Yuri Scalak. Oh my God, that was so good, wasn't it? Fucking hell. I thought, what are we signed here? Do you know what I mean? but yeah, I've seen a video. I've seen a video today of Ivanovic, I think his surname is like the Chelsea player. Yeah. Do you know the one thing that really impressed me, Joe? He scored quite a few goals with his head. 6 foot two. Yeah.
Wow. We need that, don't we?
And there was some really nice, neat finishes. And once again, I got excited by the YouTube video. I'm really excited. From what I've seen, I'm excited, mate. Yeah, he's the Millwall Mitro, mate. The Millwall Mitro.
Love it.
Very, very impressed.
The fact you say he can use his head, for me, that's like a winner straight away. When you look at what we've got at the moment,
really nice goals with his head as well, mate. Really nice goals. Yeah.
Wow. Well, fingers crossed. Then again in the chat, I don't know whether you guys have heard much about him, whether you heard any rumours, but put it in there. We will get to your comments in a minute. So back to Angelo first, then Steve. Do you know much about Callum Scanlon at all? I don't know if we've done any research on him at all.
Again, never heard of the kid. So I went on YouTube, watched his YouTube reel. Again, looked very, very good. My only concern with this guy is he's never made a first team appearance. Right. I believe he may have come on as a sub for Liverpool in one of the UEFA.
I heard that as well.
But he's never played a first team game. But from what I saw, he's fast, he's direct, he's attacking, and he can cross the ball, mate. He can.
Brilliant. Steve, what do you make of him? Have you had a chance sort of doing any sort of like digging into him at all, or learn a bit more about him?
Again, no, I didn't know much about him before, but look, few being up in the north here, a few Liverpool fans, etc. They're saying he's regarded very highly. They train their fullbacks to be fast, pacey, cross the ball well, like Angelo said,
like Andrew Robertson and Trent Arnold, exactly.
Spot on. And look, he would genuinely be a backup, wouldn't he? He wouldn't be a starter. I wouldn't have thought. So I'm pretty good with a signing like that. I think somebody mentioned it earlier. I thought that's the sort of signings Gallen would get us, these young potentials from the Prem teams, etc. But with genuine quality. And look, the other was it Bradley, the right fullback. Played up there at Bolton.
Yeah. You're right.
The season for them nearly helped them get promoted, or did get promoted. And then look, he's been tearing it up for Liverpool, hasn't he? So
absolutely.
Look, we never know, but that's a sensible if we get him on, and it looks nailed on with Rich Cowley mentioning it. And Dan Marsh. I think it's probably definitely going to be on.
Let's hope so. We definitely need some younger players, that team, some energy, some youth, and certainly some speed. And like Andrew says, he's a very, very fast player, and certainly something we need to kind of push Joe Bryan and give him a bit of a challenge as well at left back. I've done some digging into him. So again, he would be a loan if he comes in. He's a very exciting prospect. As you say, he's 19 years of age. He's a left back. He's represented England from under 17s to currently under 19. So he's quite consistently involved in the international setup. Originally, he's from Birmingham. So he's from the Birmingham Academy. Liverpool signed him in December 2020 for £500,000. I'm sure there'll be add-ons there and about appearances for Birmingham. Birmingham are quite good when it comes to sort of like, you know, finding youth players and making some money of it as well. But also he was covered for Andy Roberts. When Andy Roberts was injured, and I think they played, is it Tsimikas or his name is, their other left back. He was on the bench against Everton, and that was in a game in October 2023 last year. So that shows me Klopp wasn't afraid to put him in that position where he may have to come on and play in a massive derby against Everton as well, you know. So for me, you know, it's hard to say, is he ready or not? He's only young, hasn't played competitively in the first team yet. But the fact that Klopp was happy to put him on the bench against Everton shows me that he's got trust in him and he thinks he can do it, you know. So fingers crossed. Let's hope we get that one over the line. We desperately need some more players. Guys, thank you very much for covering those points. We're now going to go to the exciting bit. We're going to go to listeners and try and go through all these comments. While I'm talking to you, I'm listening, looking at these comments coming through, and there's loads and loads of comments coming through. So I'm going to try and get through each and every one of them, but I'm going to try and go through fairly sort of like quickly. That's okay. So first of all, Big E, good to see you, mate. 991 subscribers. If you haven't subscribed yet, just do it. Let's hit 1,000. So money from the channel can go to the charity Cancer Research. Guys, please, if you're on this live at the moment and you're listening, you're watching, and you haven't done so already, just please go to the YouTube channel. There's a little icon there where you click to subscribe. It's very easy, doesn't cost you anything. You click on that icon to subscribe, and we're trying to get the number up to 1,000. I think when I checked it a minute ago, it was 992. So we're kind of 8 away. Hopefully we could be doing a lot better. But if you could please do it for me now, even if you've got mates of yours or family members, just get them to do it for us. Because as Big E just said there, if we can get to 1,000, we can start making money off this channel, and every profit we're going to get is going to go to Cancer Research UK. That's what we're trying to aim for. That's what we're doing this for. Because we love Millwall, of course, we want to talk about Millwall, but we want to try and promote this and try and give a bit of money back to cancer, to that charity. So please, guys, if you haven't done it already, please go on there. It'd be amazing if we hit 1,000 while we're on the live together. That'd be so good. I know Chris Chaps will be over the moon with that as well, because bless him, he's been working his bollocks off the last few weeks or so, trying to get things moving. So if we can do that for him tonight, that would be amazing, guys. Steve Lloyd, how you doing, mate? Good to see you. Cole, good to see you as well. Hope you're well, mate. Jeff, how are you, mate? Good evening. Good evening, boys. Jerry, don't talk about last night, please. Sorry, Jerry. If I saw your comment earlier, I would have swerved it, but it's too late. Sorry about that. Sven, how you doing, mate? Hope you're well. Steve, last night didn't happen, mate. I hope it didn't happen. I hope it was a bad dream, to be fair. Oscan, good evening, gents. Hope you're well, Oscan. Jerry's still begging. He's on suicide watch. Make sure you hire the knife and forks. Give him plastic knife and forks.
And press subscribe before you do it, mate.
Yeah, before you do it, exactly. Give us a subscription first, Jerry, before you jump off the window ledge for us, please, mate. Other than Danny Mack, who worked hard, really good point there, guys. I mean, a lot of them we were talking earlier didn't play to their ability. I think Essay, to be fair, did quite well. I think Landon, when he came on, did reasonably well as well. Chris, Harris has been sharp in recruitment so far. Deserved better after he performed last season. Do any of you two want to jump in on that comment?
Yeah, listen, you know, it's he's head coach now, isn't he? So, like, I think that's why he was, you know, after that Bristol City game, that's why he threw his toys out of the pram, because he's not as hands on. So, hopefully, once this window's shut, he needs to sit down with the people above and get a system sorted where he's a little bit more hands on, because there's something broken. We all know that there's something broken at the moment between Harris and upstairs. And let's get through Friday, and then them lot need to sit together and get some unity, I think, you know.
I agree. If you want to add to that, Steve?
Yeah, I'm just a little confused with the whole who's doing what, you know, in terms of the recruitment, etc. To what level does he just go and get the players and give them to Harris? That can't be the case, surely. I don't know. But quite interesting as well was, how was Gallen appointed in the first place? who's give James the heads up to go and get him? Because how would he have known what Gallen was like? So I'll be honest, when it first was announced, I thought, oh, he must know Harris and they're all in it together. But it sounds like they don't have the best of relationships. So it's all very
allegedly. We don't know that for definite, but we just sort of read between the lines, I suppose. We're making up our own assumptions. But interesting. Jerry made a good comment. He thought Kelly looked that he wanted it yesterday. I think we mentioned that, didn't we, earlier in our conversation. George, one of the panelists on Chat with Chaps. Good to see you, mate. He's probably in a swanky nightclub somewhere at the moment, and on his fourth Jaeger bomb. So hope you're hanging in there, Georgie, mate. Hope you're doing well. Cole, in Super Neil Harris, I still trust. Good to hear. Jesper, another panelist on Chat with Chaps, our correspondent over from Denmark. Hope you're well, Jesper, mate. Love hearing what you've got to say. I'm sure we'll see you and George back on a show sooner rather than later. Steve, how you doing, mate? Good to see you. Tom Perkins, I love Neil. He's a Millwall legend, but never wanted him back last season. I hate his style of football, if you can call it a style. He's tactically very limited and is really showing at the moment. Tom, say what you feel, mate. don't hold back, will you? You know, guys. Who wants to answer that one? Do you agree or disagree with what Tom says?
Look, I can understand why he's saying that, Tom. But I've got to say, other than the first half against Watford and last night, which isn't really representative of the first team, if you like, I think we've played all right this season. Not outstanding, but there's been some decent attacking football. Scoring goals, yes, we've been letting them in, obviously, but individual mistakes more than poor tactics, etc. So I'm not sure. I can understand Tom saying that, but I'm not in that camp. I'll be honest at the moment.
Okay. And Angelo, what do you make of this point? So Craig Morgan says, "Good evening, gentlemen. Not Harris. I'm not Harris out, like I said before. Anyone else? Who else are you going to get? Who knows the players? Do you agree with that somewhat?
I think, is he saying he's not Harris in and he's not Harris out? Is that what he's saying?
Yeah, I think so. But the point he's making as well is that he feels Harris knows the players and knows Millwall and stuff. Yeah,
listen, again, we scored. Let's forget about the cup. Yeah, let's forget about last night. Like Jerry said, let's erase that out of our memories now. We scored 5 goals. We should have got a couple of goals up at Hull. Yeah, we should have got a couple of goals up at Hull. Yeah. It's not that bad. I'm in Steve's camp. It ain't that bad. It's 3 games. Yeah. So let's, in my eyes, let's give it 10 to 12 games, and then let's see where we are. And before we start like throwing wobblers and Harris out and all this, let's give it a little bit more time. I think 3 games not enough.
Oh, I agree. It seems like you said, Angie, I think you said it right at the very beginning of the show, there's a lot of a divided opinion on Harris at the moment. Thankfully, I think the majority of our fan base are still, very much in love with Harris and see him as someone who's doing a good job for us. But there's a section of fans that don't believe that's right and they want, someone different in charge. But, who else is going to come in? Who else are we going to attract at this stage of the season? Starters,
Joe, sorry, mate. Just go back to the previous one that you had. Can you go back? He's really starting to get, Harry there, really starting to get, he thinks he owns the place and he's untouchable. I must admit, and you can tell I'm a Harris fan at the moment, certainly at the moment, but he's not untouchable in my mind. If he doesn't produce, he should go. But he is borderline at the moment. He does seem to be playing this, I know what this club needs, etc., etc. And I can understand why Harry's saying that, because I think he's overplaying it. I'd say calm it down a bit, Bomber, and just do, just be a bit more humble.
I agree. I think that was needed initially when he first got the appointment back again. So we needed that kind of confidence, that we needed someone to come in there to sort of say, look, I know what Millwall want. But you're right. I think to the point that we've now quite into his management sort of tenure, that we don't really need to hear that as often as we had done previously. So I agree with that. Dave, hi lads. I hope we keep hold of Imaku. When he plays, he's not scared of taking on players. Kelly looked good when he came on, and Langstaff just needs a goal to set him going. Angelo, what's your thoughts on Langstaff? I mean, we touched on him earlier, but do you agree that maybe a goal is what needed? Do you think it's a confidence thing, or do you think it's an ability thing in Langstaff, in your opinion?
Well, again, mate, you got to give this guy some time. Harris was slow when he joined. He come from non-league. Steve Morrison had a shitter for about 20 games. If I remember rightly, Gregory wasn't that great when he first started, mate. So, again, let's not crucify the guy. I'm just hoping that he gets a few more minutes. That's why I would have liked to have stayed in the cup, mate, because it does give the fringe players a little bit more time. But, mate, he scored a lot of goals, so he knows where the back of the net is. We just need to supply him some chances. We haven't really seen him have a clear-cut chance, have we?
No. Well, that's true. I think there's an argument. I think he might have had a couple of sniffs, but wasn't quite.
Oh, he had a header last night. He had a header last night wide, didn't he? But it was offside, I think.
Yeah, and I think there was a chance that I'm not sure who it might be. What more that cut it back to him, and I think their defender made a really good tackle. When he was in the right area, weren't he? Of course, but didn't quite happen.
You know that chance that Coburn missed last night. Everyone's seen it.
Yes,
I'd like to see him get a chance like that.
You're right.
Do you know what I mean? And see how he handles it.
And interesting, you make that point. Actually, can you imagine if that was Langstaff? In that position, through and goal, missed the chance, which was a glaring miss, like a bad miss. If you haven't seen it, that's a bad miss from Coburn. I think the fans would have been on his back thinking, what the fuck's going on here? Who have we signed? What the hell is this? Do you know what I mean? It just goes to show you, it doesn't matter how good you are as a player. Everyone has a bad game, whether it's confidence or not, they're struggling. You always will get players that are going to miss these chances. And let's hope that maybe he gets more game time and can do business for us. Angelo, I think your family members on here. Do you know him at all?
I don't know who that is, but
Oosh, you sure?
Oosh. Subscribe, Oosh.
Oosh. Hello,
subscribe, Oosh.
Yes. Do us a favour and subscribe, please, Oosh. Do us a favour. While Fleming is out, injured, Idemo should play in a number 10. SA and Aziz on the wings, Kelly in the middle, and Savs and Casper and Billy when he comes back. I mean, Steve, what's your thoughts on that? I mean, we're missing Fleming at the moment, I think, to a certain degree. I mean, we're lacking some substance in the final third at the moment. I'm not saying he's the answer, but when you think about the players that we've missed so far this season, it'd be so nice having him back again, and having players available. But do you agree that maybe Idemo should play in the 10, or do you feel that SA is better in the 10? What's your thoughts on that?
I get why he's saying that. He possibly could. I think he'd be very different. It's almost like a backup striker in a way. Down the middle as a support striker. I think you said before, SA for me is the 10, if it's not Zian. So for me, it would be SA rather than Idemo. But interesting though, Zian, that's going to be like a new signing.
It would be.
He's going to be huge, and he should be back possibly the weekend, certainly after the international break. So,
well, I've got on good authority that apparently he's training like a monster in to get his fitness back again. I heard that he is working his bollocks off to get fit, to get over this injury and get back sooner. I mean, I heard it from good authority this is the case. So I had doubts, suspicions, thinking like, is he going to be off somewhere soon? And is he just all a bit of a sort of a disguise, if you like? But it sounds to me like he's doing his best to get back and he wants to get back into the team. So fingers crossed. Let's hope and pray that happens. Angelo, the number 10 role, obviously, it's something we spoke about quite a bit off air and in the past in our group chats, but it seems like Harris is a big fan of Honeyman in that 10 role. Now, Honeyman, don't get me wrong, I like him. I love his attitude. I love his work ethic. He's a busy bee, and he gives every. He probably puts the most amount of yards on that pitch. But do you see a reason why he should or shouldn't be in that number 10 role, or why shouldn't SA be in there? So what's your opinion on that?
Well, this is a very sore point for me, Joe, right? Because I don't think George Honeyman should ever play in that number 10, right? Since he's played it, he hasn't created us a chance. He hasn't scored a goal, All I hear I hear this from Harris. Oh, Honeyman was incredible today, Yeah, he's an incredible runner. His effort is incredible. I agree with all of that, But he's not incredible in the number 10 position, mate. I love Honeyman, but not in that position, mate, You need someone there who's going to get us a goal and he's going to create us a goal. And sorry, Honeyman don't do that. Honeyman just runs around. He's a great marathon runner. He ain't a great number 10, mate. And if it was down to me, I would never play him there again.
Where would you say that he should play? Over to you, Steve. I mean, also you first, Angelo, then you, Steve. It'd be interesting thoughts.
There was I can't remember if it was with Joe Edwards, right? But we had Honeyman in the middle for a few games.
That was December. That was the December period. We beat Norwich 2-0. I think it was.
Yeah, 2-0. I love him in that position, mate. I love Honeyman in that position. Or I don't know if you remember, and some of the viewers, in the old days, we used to have a player called Andy May. Used to sit in front of the back four. Yeah,
quality player he was. Quality short guy, weren't he?
Yeah. So Honeyman, right, playing just in front of the back four, I think would be unbelievable, mate. I think that's the position because he's aggressive, he tackles, he's got the energy, but he's not a number 10 in my eyes, mate. I don't know if the viewers agree, mate, but I don't like him there.
Over to the chat, if you can give us your opinion on Honeyman and where you think his best position is. Steve, what's your thoughts on Honeyman? I mean, he's been playing quite a lot in number 10 role, and to Angelo's point, he hasn't really created much, he hasn't scored. He hasn't really sort of done a lot in that position, other than all he's doing is chasing and pressing defenders all the time. Is that what he's put in that place for? I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's what he thinks. Is he's closing down, shutting down. But for me, no chance. I agree. He played really well, and I always thought he was a central midfielder. I think you could play him out wide right if you're wanting a defender lead, maybe and tighten things up. You get away with that. And he is an all energy, all action type player, typical sort of Millwall player. Supposed to be a really nice bloke as well, apparently. But no, I agree. Shouldn't be a 10. Not creative enough if we want to create. And look, let's be honest. This whole 4-2-3-1. I think a lot of people question: is that really the right sort of formation for us? Last night, certainly, it looked all over the bleeding shop.
No, I agree.
Sorry, Joe, just one thing, because it's come up a couple of times. People talking about Rowett's tactics and what have you. One thing I did want to make a point about tonight was, look, Harris takes the blame as manager and all the rest. Tactics are crap and team selection and what have you. I think we need to be looking at the coaching staff a bit as well. What are they doing? Look, a lot of people not impressed with Adam Barrett. Again, supposed to be a very nice bloke and a very knowledgeable a guy, etc., etc. I believe he's in charge of set pieces. Well, I'd love to have half an hour with him and say, come on, Adam, how can we change these set pieces? Bloody corners, floated to the back post all the time. Funnily enough, we did a really good one at Hull. Do you remember we went short to Brian and he curled it in and Cooper had a free header and should have scored?
They're queued up, weren't they, at the back post of that one?
Every time we do something different, it works. Middlesbrough last season, we did a short corner and nearly scored from it. Never did it again. So they've got to mix it up a bit. And finally, these bloody free kicks from the halfway line, just lumping it up to Cooper or Hutch or whoever, and trying to get the scraps from getting it down. Very quickly, you can find teams have got us sussed. So bloody change it and roll it short and then come down the wings or do something different. They've got to work on that for me.
No, I agree. I think it's the Millwall way, isn't it? We've always been heavily reliant on set pieces, but these were the days when we had, the likes of, we had Coops, of course, at the time. Hutchinson was more in his prime. We had like Stevie Morrison. We had players who possessed, an aerial threat, and teams feared us. We were very tough and we were very sort of strong in the air. Whereas now, you look at likes of like Bradshaw, Honeyman, Casper. They're not very, very, very big players, are they? And we're not really playing to our strengths if we are hitting the ball long and aiming for set pieces all the time. We don't really possess that threat like we used to. Bobby T, good to see you, mate. Still fuming about last night. We all are, mate. If we lose Saturday, Harris has to walk. Bit harsh, but everyone's entitled to their opinion, Bobby, mate. And let's hope that we get a result on Saturday. I'm sure we can turn this one around. To your point, guys, about players, position stuff. I'm a firm believer that you play a player in the position they feel most comfortable in. You play a player in a position they're comfortable in, you'll get 9 times out of 10 the best of them. And over sort of recent months and seasons, I've had the privilege of sort of speaking to a few of these players, and I always like to ask the question. I'm always intrigued to know about how they play and what their style is, what they enjoy doing, and stuff like that. And George Honeyman, for one, said this is when he was playing right wing at the time for Rowett, and he said he wants to play centre mid. That's my position. I want to play in the middle, centre mid. And he never really got the opportunity to do that until Joe Edwards came in, to your point, Angelo, when he played that little period of time playing in the middle, when he was by far our best player. And I think he got injured, didn't he, after that, I think.
It's older, wasn't it?
Yeah, and then the same with Roman Essay. Like, I was fortunate, as you could say, by sponsoring him last season. You get like a lunch and you sit down with the players, you talk, and you spend a real quality time talking to them. And on my table, I had Roman Essay and I had Brooke Norton-Cuffy. And they were great, really nice kids. Had a good chat with them all. And we're talking about positions and players. And Brooke Norton-Cuffy actually came out and said, and he pointed at Essay, he said, I don't think he's a winger. And I looked at him, I was, what do you mean? He goes, he's not a winger. That's not his position. He should play in the 10. And Roman sort of like, grinned and sort of nodded like, well, yeah. And I just came out there. I said, well, unfortunately, with Zian here, you've got no chance, have you? And he kind of shrugged his shoulders a little bit, like sort of say, yeah, I know, sort of thing, So, yeah, Harris is playing out on the right. He's asking to cut on his left foot, and he can do that. He's got all the attributes to do that. But you can just tell that he wants to play in the middle. He wants to play in that 10 role. Now, why the hell he hasn't had that over the last 3 games and put Honeyman in there instead is beyond me. Because Honeyman, although he wants to play centre mid, has proven he can do a job in that right midfield position. I think he's had some really good games there where he's trapped back and worked hard and, and got up and down the pitch a little bit. So it just seems strange why Harris hasn't gone for that and put the youngster in the number 10 role and let him express himself and give the discipline to Honeyman to track back instead. I mean, Angelo, what's your thoughts on that? Do you agree or disagree with that?
I have to agree, mate. I have to 100% agree. I love Honeyman, but not in that position, mate. If you just swap them two, I think we would have had probably more chances and more goals, mate. I really believe that.
Yeah, Steve, reading this point there, do you agree with that somewhat? I mean, it was a very empty stadium yesterday. I mean, the game was on Sky Sports Plus, of course. Evening kickoff. It was a nice evening to watch a game, but you can certainly hear the Leyton Orient fans over the Millwall fans quite a bit. What was your thoughts on that? Do you think it makes a big difference to how we play?
Look, huge, isn't it? They always say the crowd makes a massive difference. Awful, isn't it, to see the stand totally empty? It goes back to what I said earlier. It's the whole cup situation, isn't it? London Derby, their cup final. What did they bring? 1,500 or whatever. Had a lovely night out. Whereas it was just an ordinary game for us, and the crowd weren't up for it. But the players have to get you up for it. You get stuck in and have a go, the fans will back you. So, but that won't have helped, definitely.
Yeah. How many times we've heard that, Angelo, over the years? I think going back as far as Rowett, Joe Edwards, Neil Harris says it all the time, that, they need the fans on board, they need the fans to kind of like back them. But they also agree that the players have got to give the fans a reason to get up for it and get excited and get emotional. I mean, what's your thoughts on that? Do you feel that we're doing it enough or not enough at the moment? What's the general consensus amongst fans in stadiums?
I went to the Sheffield United game where they shut off the ground in the cup a couple of seasons ago. I said to myself, I'm never going to go again when it's not the full ground's open. It's just so dead, mate. Honestly, I hate it. I know the club's going to save some money, but my God, it does kill our power, which is obviously the atmosphere. But listen, even if they open the whole ground, you're only going to get your 3,000-4,000 go and watch the AFL Cup. But yeah, listen, Saturday's a different story, mate. It'll be close to a full house. Sheffield Wednesday will be bringing thousands down because they're a big club. And yeah, we need to back the team, mate. There's no two ways about it. We need to fucking back the team, and we can beat Sheffield Wednesday, no problem.
Absolutely.
Mate. Apart from their first game, they've been pretty weak, mate, in my eyes.
I think they had a good result yesterday, didn't they? I think they played against Grimsby. They won, was it 5-0, 5-1? So their confidence is going to be high. So, but yeah, you know what? Let the confidence be high. I would much rather them come at us and attack us on Saturday and give us an opportunity to exploit, some space behind them, because that's usually when it works out well for us. We don't want to play against teams that want to sit back and defend, do we, Steve? We don't want players that are going to park the bus, so to speak. We need someone to come up to create some space. Lots of points coming through the chat, guys. Thanks for that. Regards to Ivanovic, a lot of people mentioning about him being quite tall, 6'2". They talk about a £3 million €3 million, sorry, which will probably be a transfer record for us, Steve. Do you feel, firstly, what's your thoughts on that? Are you quite excited about that? Are you quite excited that the club are going through a young 19-year-old prospect who I hear he was playing out in Italy on loan with Sampdoria a season or two ago? He didn't feature much, but the fact that clubs like that are attracting him and want to get his signature, he must have something about him. What's your thoughts on that? Are you quite excited about that?
Look, exactly that. Look, we've said for a long while, why don't we, cast the net wider and get into, abroad and in Europe and see where there's probably better value, etc., etc. I'm surprised at that fee, and I wouldn't mind betting it's probably not that. Actually, I might be wrong, but I wouldn't mind betting it's not. I'll look. He, as you say, on the YouTube reel, Angelo, he looks pretty decent. On Twitter, I think Cowley put something out saying, "Does anybody know much about this guy?" And it looked like a guy from, is he Serbian or whatever, had come back and said he's very good in the air, very strong in the air. So look, I don't want to go long ball. I'm not saying that. Doesn't mean you've got to go long ball to be strong in the air, but to have that attribute is definitely something we haven't got up front right now, isn't it? So yeah, I'm all for that. I would say I'll be greedy. If we get him, I would expect us to get someone else as well, maybe a youngster or something. But I would expect we need two up front. Well, definitely with Bradder's now injured, we need two. Look, I'd have liked Coburn. I don't know whether it's Borough are holding out or he's not keen. Whatever, it looks like that could be dead, but it could be one of those Friday night last minute jobs. It's on, it's off, it's on, it's off. Who knows? But look, I think if we get another, we've got Wintle today. I think it looks like the Liverpool player is nailed on. We get two strikers on top of that. I don't think that'll be too bad for us. Maybe one more to be greedy. A centre half would be lovely, but that ain't bad. We should be in good shape with that. With Zian coming back as well.
I agree. Ben Green, good to see you, mate. Ben also features on Chat with Chap sometimes. Good to see you on there, mate. Hope you're well. Angelo, do you agree with Ben's comment? Eden Feller has been saying for a few weeks that we are not aligned as a club. Senior management and Harris need to sort it out. Otherwise, it's going to end in one way. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I said it earlier, Joe, mate. Once this transfer window's finished, they need to sit down and sort it out, mate. Yeah, because something's not right. They need to work with the team. Yeah.
Absolutely. Dave, I'd rather us start the season off shit and iron out the problems than have these difficulties at the end of the season, I guess like we were last season. Once all these new players train more and gel, we'll be an exciting team. Steve, you mentioned earlier that our performances haven't been that bad. I think we've been a bit unlucky. I think we've made mistakes. It's cost us goals and it's cost us points. How sort of confident are you that Harris can turn it around, especially on Saturday, which is a big game for us? Again, we much need to get 3 points on the board. Do you feel we've got enough in our squad, in our team, to turn this around under Harris, or do you feel we're on a high into nothing at the moment?
No, look, of course we do. We definitely do, without a doubt. I'm not as confident. I'll be honest. I was coming into this week after Hull. I thought 2 wins. We're getting 2 wins here, and we're going to finish going into the international break in really good shape with a couple of new signings, etc., etc. So I'm not as confident. But yes, we absolutely can turn it around. And I thought Bomber was brilliant last night as well with his interview, where he said, we need to be together now. The fans, the players, the club, we need going into that game on Saturday. Let's all be to fuck this, get out and all that. Let's get behind the team. And look, we owe Sheffield Wednesday after last year, in my mind. They come down and tore us one, didn't they?
Exactly.
But so
it cost Joe Edwards his job, didn't it? Yeah,
exactly. So yeah, of course we can. And these signings are helping. And it's funny, isn't it? Today feels a lot better already, because before the game yesterday, there was a vibe that we weren't going to get any more players in, wasn't there? There was all this rumour of Harding's not going to go. And
it was like a blessing in disguise, wasn't it? A lot of people said that yesterday. Yeah, maybe it's not a bad thing. This is probably a good thing, because, had we beaten them and done really well, maybe we wouldn't have forced these signings through as we have done. Angelo, what's your thoughts on Langstaff? The people mentioned here about, the point you made earlier about Langstaff, why he's not getting regular time, and He's got up to speed. I mean, Carl Bracey mentioned you don't score 70 goals in 2 seasons and become a bad striker. I mean, it's hard to say. We haven't seen enough of Langstaff, but for what you've seen so far, I mean, how does he compare to Bradshaw? What have you seen? Have you seen anything that excites you about him? Have you seen any potential in your mind?
The only thing I can now understand why Harris hasn't been starting him, because from what I've seen, yeah. But again, like I said earlier, got to give him time, mate. He's doing two level jump, isn't he? From League 2 to Championship. Got to give the guy some time, mate. But he needs to get minutes. This coming on at 88 minutes at Hull is a bit of a piss take. He needs more. He needs more time than that. Give the geezer 15, 20 minutes every game. Like in Maku, give them their 20 minutes off the bench. Let's see if that can buzz them up, bring them some confidence. But do you know one quick thing before we finish off, mate? Where was Harding last night? Because in my eyes, Harding should now be ahead of Hutchinson. Like he should have been the next one in. Well, where was he? Was there rumours he was going to go, and now he's not going to go? Or
again, I mean, they're all rumours. We don't know whether they're true. Rumours are rumours, and although there's no smoke without fire, but I believe the rumours were that maybe, he could have been looking for a move or could have got a move. Maybe Harris didn't want him to go. I think Harris really came out and said he's not going to go anywhere, Whether they have the ump of that, I don't know. But then why is he not on the bench? If you're saying you don't want him to leave and Harris came out saying that, then surely he'd be at least on the bench if not starting, wouldn't he? One word answers from you guys. Bobby T's question. So one question for the panel, a one word answer, yes or no. We lose Saturday and we lose against Luton. Does Harris walk? Steve, we'll go to you first.
No.
Yes or no?
No.
No, Angelo?
I've got more on that, but no.
Angelo?
I would just say very quickly, if we play like we played last night for those 2 games, he'd be under huge pressure, but I can't see that happening.
Good point. Angelo, what's your thoughts?
No.
No.
You're my thoughts, though, or just a no?
Give us your no first, then give us your thoughts.
Right, I believe Harris will never ever walk out now because when he come back, he said he's here for 1.5 seasons, and he made a promise to John Berrison that he will come and help. And Harris is a guy that sticks to his word. He might get sacked, but he won't walk. I don't think he'll walk. I think he'll stick to his word that he's been called back to help us. He helped us immensely last season. And listen, we're notoriously quite bad starters. The 3 performances in the league have been all right, mate. So listen, last night really pissed everybody off and put us in a bad mood. But we're not in that bad of a position, mate. And if we can bring some players in before Friday, the transfer window is shut. He knows who he's got to work with. We can start motoring forward, mate, and get some positivity.
Good boy. I'm catching up with the comments, guys. I'm probably about 10 minutes behind still, but we're on the Honeyman. Some good points regarding Honeyman, guys, coming through. I really appreciate it. So Steve Jeffrey, how you doing, Steve? Honeyman is a central midfielder and should be the first centre midfielder on the team sheet with Saville or Denor. Saville and Denor can't play together as they do. As they do, they look below average at best. Angelo, we'll come to you first. Then Steve, do you agree or disagree with that point? What's your thoughts on that?
I agree with Steve Jeffrey, mate. Honeyman should be the first midfielder in the squad, mate.
Yeah,
midfielder.
Yeah, centre midfield. I agree. Steve?
I'm not sure he's first on the team sheet, but he is definitely a centre midfielder. Denore, for me, is really growing on me. I've been a little bit of a slow burn with him. I haven't quite seen what everybody has seen, but I think this season he's looked pretty good, and he came on last night, and I thought he did well, to be fair. So
I've seen a difference in Casper. I mean, everyone talks about Casper's ability, and technically he is a very good player. On the ball, I think his passing, his distribution, we moan about our midfielders not passing the ball forward. We talk about Mitchell and Saville keep passing it backwards and sideways. But I must admit, whenever Casper has the ball, he's always looking to play forward. One slight criticism I had of Casper, perhaps last season, and you could argue, look, he's still adjusting to English football. It takes a bit of time. But I always felt he probably didn't quite do enough off the ball. And we talk about the Millwall type player. And I always want to see a little bit more aggression in him. I want to see a little bit more tenacity, and pressing and winning the ball and showing a little bit more, horribleness, streaking him. And I've seen that the last few games. And I think to your point, Steve, last night he came on and he was chucking it about a little bit, throwing himself into tackles and getting aggressive and fighting for the ball. And I think if you can do that and still do the good on the ball with your technical ability and your passing and stuff like that, he could become an even better player for us. And I think in some ways, we're asking him to kind of mold himself a little bit and adjust and adapt to how we want to play, how we start playing English football. So if he can do that, I think maybe we could see an even better Casper this season. But to your points, guys, I think we still need those legs around him, whether that's a Honeyman or a Mitchell. We need those legs there. What's your thoughts, guys, on Saville? I mean, personally, I love Saville. I think what he's done for the club and how he plays, he makes such a difference to our team when he's in it. You see everyone raise their games. People are mentioning, whether he's still got the legs in him anymore, like he doesn't sort of get around the pitch like he used to. But do you still think there's a place for him in that team? Would you rather see him playing, Angelo, or do you think he should be sort of on the subs bench and come on? What's your thoughts on Saville?
I think Saville is imperative to the club and the teammate. He is the unofficial captain, isn't he? When the game's going on, he's the captain, mate. You can tell. He's the one barking out orders. I can remember him losing the plot with Nisbet last season. He don't take no shit. I'm a massive Saville fan, and I think he still has got the legs. This might be the last season he's got the legs, but Saville has to start as well, mate. Yeah, in my opinion.
Yeah,
he's very important, and he's important around the club, mate. He's important.
100%. Like you say, he's someone who doesn't need the captain's armband, but he does sort of play that kind of leader mentality when he's on the pitch. You see him calling out, his teammates and just sort of really sort of like driving our team when we need him to, don't we? Steve, what's your thoughts on Saville?
Yeah, look, he's turning into a good old pro, and he's very professional. The fouls he gets us, he's unbelievable that he gets away with touching him and he's down and, falls down and gets, but that's what you need. Other teams do it to us. I haven't seen enough of anyone else to dislodge him. I think he should be being dislodged, in a way, in terms of where he is in his career, but there's not people pushing him enough yet. Maybe that will come now in the next few months with these youngsters and this new guy coming in, etc. So we'll see. One thing I would say last night that I thought was sadly lacking across the pitch, and as for a long while, although we've got, like Saville's, a bit of a leader on the pitch, we do lack leadership on the pitch, to me, don't we? We look a bit rudderless. Doesn't look like there's someone there who gets it by the scruff of the neck and says, come on, guys, we're going to get out of this, and really, the odd one there, Angelo, where you bollock a certain player, but really getting into people, to get them motivated and to improve. So that's something Hutch didn't seem to be involved at all last night, club captain. So very strange.
Very, very true. There's been a few comments here in regards to Steve Long's comments here. This is for you, Steve, and then we'll go to Angelo after. The difference between Rowett and Harris is I never thought we would go down under Rowett. Steve, in Rowett's tenure, we finished, 8th, 10th, 9th, in around that sort of area just outside the playoffs. And for a first time in a long time, we were never looking backwards. We were always looking ahead, weren't we? And chasing the dream of getting up in the playoffs. What is it? I mean, is it the tactics? Is the mentality, the style of football? What's changed? Would you say since Rowett has left in the way we play in our style of football?
For me, sorry.
Yes, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Well, look, I get what Steve's saying there, Steve Long. That Rowett was a safe pair of hands. I was never a Rowett out guy either, but bloody hell, some of the football was absolutely dire under him. Jesus. And I tend to go to more away games, being up in the north. Christ, I can tell you lots of away games where we were dreadful. Like last night, and didn't have a shot on target. So I'm not seeing that with Harris right now. So, look, and I don't fear we're going to go down once we get settled and that. So I don't sort of align it with Steve there in terms of that. But yeah, Rowett was a safe pair of hands, but bloody boring. Jeez. Yeah.
And Angelo, what's your thoughts on that? I mean, we've had record attendances last season under Harris. I, for one, feel the atmosphere has been a much, much bigger improvement from how it has been previously under Gary Rowett. I think the fans are a little bit more behind the players, and they're getting entertained a bit more. I mean, I remember times, Angelo, when I was watching Millwall under Gary Rowett, and I'll be bored shitless You know, I'll be sitting there watching the game thinking this is fucking boring. Like, you know, you question yourself, like, do I even renew my season ticket for next season? Is that bad? Have you seen the difference? You know, I don't know how you feel, but I would rather lose a game, but at least try and go for it and score a couple of goals, you know, than just sit there and defend a 1-0 lead. What's your thoughts on that sort of transition?
I think we all need to give our head a bit of a shake, mate. Yeah, because when Harris they break it up into two pieces. Yeah, last season when Harris joined us, we ended up the season that only Ipswich got more points than us. Is that right?
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Right. So that period,
yeah. So let's close that chapter. Fucking brilliant, Harris. Yeah. And then let's go to the new chapter this season. It's been 3 games, and we all agree. Every fan will agree we should have way more than 1 point. Yeah. The performances have been decent. Forget the cup. Forget last night. The performances have been good. Yeah. I am still very, very positive with Harris, and I don't believe Harris would take us down.
Yeah, no, I agree. Adam White, sorry, mate, for your comment there. So the player is Callum Scanlon. He's an England under-19 left back. He's a player that they signed from Birmingham about 4 years ago, I think 2020. But he's an attacking left-sided fullback, and I guess he's come in to potentially take over Andy Roberts one day. That's Robertson. That's the plan anyway. So yeah, let's hope we get one over the line. We certainly need someone like him. Oscan said, Steve, spot on. 2 strikers, 1 defender, and we're good to go. Craig Morgan, Harding played well in the Portsmouth game and wasn't played. I'd be gutted if I was him. And I think we have to agree with that. Alpine Mash Saturday. Not quite sure what that means. Yeah, exactly. Interesting one here. Dyke's gone to Birmingham. Please, we missed out on him. I, for one, I'm not going to lie, I was quite gutted. I would like to get Dykes come in, and I know he's not a prolific goal scorer. I know he's not going to set the world alight for us on that side, but I just felt, he's got that kind of shithousery about him. He's got that kind of Millwall sort of way about him. He's a bit of a lump. A bit of a bruiser. He likes to battle. He likes to win balls in the air. He likes to link up play, and I think he'll allow players around him to play in that final third. Steve, I'll go to you first. And Angelo, what's your thoughts on Dykes? Are you sort of like not bothered about him going Birmingham? Would you like to assign him? What's your thoughts, Steve?
Look, I can't see how he wouldn't have done a good job for us, you know, and I'm sure the fans would have loved him because he's a nasty bit of work, or he seems it. Then he ripped us one last season with the other guy who's now at Bristol City as well. But I think in terms of, from what I understand, the deal, he got a 3-year deal at Birmingham.
Yes.
And we wanted to get a loan possibly. Totally right. There's no way we should have been offering him a 3-year contract.
Yeah.
Etc. But I'd have loved to seen him in a Millwall shirt. I think he'd have done very well for us. Yes,
I think so. Angelo, do you agree with that? What's your thoughts on Lyndon Dykes?
Not going to lose any sleep over it. Wasn't a massive fan, but I think probably Millwall would have got the best out of him, mate. I think he would have been a good fit at Millwall.
Yeah, no, I agree. Oscan said apparently Harding was ill, which is the reason why he went there. It's hard to believe whether that's true or not. We hear managers in the past saying, "Oh, so and so is ill," and we realise that they're probably been sort of sent home or something for discipline.
Was ill, wasn't he, last week?
Yeah, exactly. ill in some sort of dirty bloody nightclub probably somewhere. But no, that's interesting. Jeff Chandler, Jeff, good to see you, mate. Hope you're well. After watching Millwall for over 50 years, I'm starting to get a bit fed up with this. We need a Millwall type player. We need more quality. The rest should take care of itself. Angelo, what's your thoughts on that Millwall type player? Are you still an advocate of that? Or are you someone who thinks, actually, you know what, we've got to move forward now? You know, it's not about Millwall type players. We've got to move with the times. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, it's just the way that we are as a club, isn't it, mate? We love the tenacious, the aggression, the rough tacklers. You know, that's what we are as a club. But where I do agree with, sorry, what was the guy's name? Was it
Jeff?
Jeff. Where I agree with Jeff is, you know, we now need to start bringing in the youngsters, mate. Yeah, what Joe Edwards always used to say: pace, athleticism, and obviously a good age. That's what
you're right.
Well, we're lacking behind that.
Well, he was trying to move us away, wasn't he, Steve?
Yeah.
You know, Joe Edwards was trying to move us away from that Millwall type way, and unfortunately, he kind of crashed and burned, didn't he, with that one, because he didn't have the players and the personnel to sort of do that. Do you feel that the Millwall way is still the way for us? I mean, we're on a bit of a shoestring budget. I mean, it seems incredible. I was talking about players for €3 million at the moment, and we signed Casper for I think 2 million last season before, and we certainly moved away from how we used to be Millwall, because we never spend fuck all on players, did we? But yet we still can't compete with most of the Championship clubs. So is there an argument to say that we have to play the Millwall way because that's what we can afford? It's almost like will over skill. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, look, the Millwall way, for me, it's just, I want a player to come in and give 100%, put a shift in, put a tackle in, leave everything out on the pitch, simple as that. Now, that doesn't mean you can't have quality with that as well. I get so frustrated as well, not only with our set pieces. I have quality with that as well. Oh, I've got feedback there. I urge you to...
I was just checking out...
didn't I?
Yes, I was just checking our subs there to see how we're getting on. Sorry, mate, carry on.
I get really frustrated with... I watch on Saturday, and I hope I'm wrong and it improves. Watch our bloody throw-ins. We give the ball away from a bleeding throw-in. We never retain the ball and have a bit of movement. Pass and move. Last night, everybody was 20 yards from each other, weren't they? Instead of coming close, pass them, pass to you, pass back, move into space. We can still have the Millwall way with that grit, determination, hard work, leave it on the pitch, get stuck in, but add a bit of quality to that. Nothing wrong with that at all.
The trouble is, I don't think, Angelo, we've got the players to even play the Millwall way at the moment. I mean, long gone are the days we've got these big towering centre forwards. We're going back as early as like John Fashanu, Teddy Sheringham, Tony Cascarino. Then we go through the years. We look at likes of Goodman, Dave Mitchell, Henderson. There's so many players we can name. Dion Dublin when he was on loan, and all these big players. We've always Steve Morrison more recently, Sadlier, Moody. So many players you can mention, and these players were fundamental in our style of football and the way we played, in that direct nature and being aggressive and putting balls in the box and getting crosses in. We can't play that way, surely, with Bradshaw's and your Langstaff. So what is the Millwall way? Because it doesn't seem to suit us at the moment, the players we've got, does it?
You hear it a lot, didn't you? Like Harris is always playing his mates, yeah? You hear that, didn't you?
Right? Yeah.
That's because these guys, his mates, they are the Millwall way. They put in the effort, they're experienced, they fight, they know what it means to play for the club. It's just one of them things, mate. We just got to keep bringing, the recruitment, just keep bringing the players in, and hopefully with the established players, that they learn how to be a Millwall player. Obviously we want the quality, of course we do. We want more quality, but we want, all the aggression and the.
Yeah, just seen a message here from someone called Keir Starling. Jesus King, I don't know if it's true or not, but apparently he's claiming to be Callum Scallon's little brother. Apparently he's nervous as heck about the fans. Hope you can all get behind him. Whether it's true or not, I don't know, but I'm sure we'll look after him. It's when he plays against us. That's when you've got to be worried, mate. So I'm sure
he'll be in good hands with us. Don't worry.
He'll be in very good hands. Exactly. Dave, last night's game was just a training game for the new players. Harris knows we're an FA Cup team and not a Carabao Cup team.
We have been useless in the EFL Cup, haven't we?
Oh, we have. Longer. We used to love those sort of runs, didn't we? Getting far in it and stuff like that, and that's not quite the same anymore, unfortunately. Big E, we're now down to 5 subs left. Guys, we need 5 more subscriptions to get to 1,000. Please, guys, please. Also, I don't know whether you've heard this already, but Chris Chapman's Chat with Chaps has got an interview lined up. Well, not quite yet, but it's lined up to go with Paul Eiffel. So Paul Eiffel said that he would sit down with Chaps and do a real in-depth interview, a bit like we did with Aidan O'Brien and Steve Morrison. But he'll only do it, Paul Eiffel said, he'll only do it if we get to 1,000 subscriptions. So please, guys, as Big E says, that we're 5 subs away. It's free of charge to subscribe. So if you haven't done it already, guys, please just go on there, click on subscribe, job done. If you're old dear sitting there, you know, with a cup of tea watching Love Island or whatever it might be on at the moment on TV, just give her a bit of a nudge and say, "Here, love, just go get your phone out and subscribe to Chat with Chaps," because we
just
really
press this
do it.
button, love.
Press this button. You might
And then go and knock on your neighbour's door. Right?
Exactly. If you've got a Deliveroo coming to drop a dirty dollar in a minute, ask the motorbike cyclists to subscribe as well. We need all the help we can get, guys. And we can think of everyone, even your kids. I'm sure all kids have got phones at the moment. They're all looking at YouTube and looking at crap on there and Minecraft and bloody what else they're looking at. Get your kids now. If your kid's there in front of you, say to them, listen, you get an extra half hour up at tonight. if you just get your phone out and subscribe to Chat with Chaps.
Brilliant.
Let's do it, guys. Come on, guys.
Brilliant.
We've got to do it before we sign off. Keir Starner, thank you, my brother. I told him the fans will bloody love him and get behind him. He was so buzzing, we were interested and was desperate to get over the line. Mate, I hope that's true. I really do. It'd be lovely to sign. Certainly someone who we need. Cole Bracey, I never wanted Rowett in charge of Millwall. He was moaning about not seeing his family. He lived in London and they all lived in the Midlands during COVID. So all well and good there. Alex S, good to see you, Alex, mate. Bit late to the party, but it's good to have you in. Evening, gents. Only just got here. Who's this Ryan Wintle fella we've signed? And any truth in the Serbian kid we're linked with? So we've covered that off earlier. A lot of people on the chat have been talking about it. In a nutshell, Alex, Ryan Winter, I believe, is like a sort of defensive midfield type player. He's out of favour with Cardiff at the moment. They want him to get rid of him. He wants to get out. I believe we've done a loan deal for him and he's going to come in. Whether he's actually going to be a first-team player or squad player or backup player, I'm not quite sure. But he's come in. And the Serbian kid is apparently a 19-year-old, 6'2", centre-forward from the sounds of it. Angelo's checked him out earlier, said he's pretty good at giving heads. Is that right, Angelo?
Yeah, some nice little goals, mate. Nice little goals.
He loves giving a bit of heads. Apparently scored a few goals with his head. And it sounds like he could be a good fit for us. So yeah, obviously it'd be interesting to see how that pans out. Hughesy, Harris promised to leave the club in better shape. The shift to young athletic players is part of that, but there'll be many bumps along the road. I think that's kind of I'm not sure I said out of you, Steve and Angelo, but I think they alluded to earlier that, you know, he's here on an 18-month contract. He wants to leave the club in good hands. And I guess what he's trying to do here is to make sure that we're in a good position when he leaves, whether that might be. Jeff Chandler, great show, by the way, boys. Loving this debate. Lovely to hear that, Jeff. Thank you very much, mate. Yes, Stephen, we know nothing about Winter other than nickname will be rest in peace. Rip Van. Okay, rest in peace, Van.
Rip Van. Rip Van Winter.
Yeah. Keir Starling, again, he's saying he's his older brother. I said that it's when we're not on your side, you don't want to worry. Exactly that. Love the shirt, mate. Thanks, GC. This is an old replica Lewisham 1987 shirt, which
the Cascarino one, isn't it? The Cascarino Sheringham one, yeah.
It was, yeah. It's a season where we're in the top flight, the old First Division, which is probably about a year or two just after I started supporting Millwall. So I blame Cascarino and Sheringham for me supporting Millwall, because when I first started supporting them, we've done really, really well. We've got promoted. I thought, who's this fucking great team? You know, love it. Got into the top flight. Yeah,
top of the league.
Top of the league, yeah. Exactly. I remember that. Top of the league, done really, really well. Finished quite high up in the table, and it's been fucking shit ever since.
hey, not total shit.
Oh yeah, apart from the FA Cup final, of course. Yeah. Getting trounced 3-0 by fucking Man United.
Do you know, Joe? Do you know something, right? My two sons, they always say to me, "They go, Dad, why do we support such a shit team?"
It's like my two boys. Huh? That's like my two boys. They're exactly the same.
They love it. They love it all through and through. No, mate, they love it.
My two are as well. To be fair, they joke around and take the piss, but deep down inside, they'll never change any other team. They are Millwall through and through. It's just a shame that I live out in Surrey, and a lot of the fan base out here are Chelsea fans, Liverpool, Man United, not really a couple of Palace, but mainly Chelsea and all that. So you can imagine what kids like at school, when they all talk about Premiership football, Chelsea, Liverpool, Man United, he's like I'm Millwall, like who? You know? So I do feel sorry for him a little bit, you know. Craig Morgan, Bradshaw got injured in the cup game yesterday. Neil Harris knows we can't get players injured in the cups for the sake of it. Any gossip, guys, on Bradders? Do we know how bad the extent is of his injury? It seems like he was holding his hamstring, weren't he, when he went off? Have either of you two heard anything on that? I don't know whether you've heard any news on that injury.
The only thing I heard was that I think it was Harris said it's a bad one. It's a bad one. But
Right.
you know what as well, mate? Like the whole of this season, Bradshaw's been playing with these tapes up his leg, isn't he? Like he's obviously been protecting something, isn't he?
He did
so
last
it was only
season.
a matter of time that he was going to get injured. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and it was much to do with nothing, wasn't it, as well? I think it was running up the line with a defender, competing for the ball, went for a jump, lost his balance and went. But, he's 32 years of age. Yeah, the poor fucker works his socks off, doesn't he? He works so hard.
Yeah.
I guess it's a bit like wear and tear. It's like you having an old car that's done 100,000 miles on the clock. You know, if you're going to put that foot down and thrash it around, you're going to get little injuries and little problems here and there. So maybe that's what it is, you know.
I thought he was going to say it's like when you pull an old bird at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Don't encourage him. Don't encourage him.
I know. Don't get me started on that. All I was merely trying to say to that point was, I'm sure many listeners will agree with this, right? You know, when you go out for the night and you've got the best intentions, you want to pull the fittest bird in the bar, the club, or it might be in the pub, and you look at your clock, you're thinking, "Fuck me, it's getting a little bit late, isn't it?" And then suddenly your kind of expectations just sort of come down a little bit more, maybe another notch, and you get close to 2 in the morning. You've had a few beers, you've got your beer goggles are on, your barometer is a bit lower. That suddenly you go for what you can get, and if you've got a bird there's got a wonky eye or a dodgy hip or whatever, you're going to nab it, ain't you? Something like that. You've got a cab home, but on your own, you've got to pay full fare. So that's all I was saying. I don't do anymore. I'm a happily married man, by the way, but back in the day, that was the goal. Yes, mate.
Joe, let me tell you, right, this is a very, very quick, true story, right? One of my old workmates, right, when they used to go out as like 18, 19-year-olds, they used to go to a nightclub, like between 6 and 10 of them, and you used to put £5 in a bottle, and the person that won all the money would be the person who pulled the roughest pig at the end of the night, right? So they do this every time they went to a nightclub, yeah?
Oh, my God.
One of the guys that actually won the competition one night ended up marrying her. He ended up marrying her.
Was it in the wedding speech?
Brilliant.
Huh?
Brilliant.
Was it in the wedding
It's a true
speech?
story as well, mate. It's a true story. He married the puller.
Oh, my God. And did they mention that in the wedding speech as well,
I
did
don't know, mate.
that was the best man's job. He should have leaked that one out. You can imagine the wife's family hearing that story. Jesus Christ. Unbelievable. Guys, how are we doing with our subscriptions at the moment? Can anyone put it on the chat where we're at the moment? Big E, last time mentioned it, I think he said we're about 5 short.
I've got
So
996.
if one of you don't mind checking it, please have a look for us and let me know what you can find. Let's get back to the chat again. Yes, Craig Morgan, mate, absolutely spot on. On a serious note, we all know someone who suffered or has died from cancer. I lost my grandparents through cancer, but they were very, very dear, very close to me. Unfortunately, that is the truth. We've all know someone or have family members that had it, and it's a massive help. I'm not saying we're going to stop cancer all on our own, but if we can go some way to helping and donate towards cancer research, then guys, all you're doing is just clicking on a subscription here, and you're making that happen. You're starting the money rolling in, so we can start putting this money to cancer research. So please, guys, if you haven't done it already, get on there now and subscribe and do that for us. Carl Bates, Bracy, thanks, mate. I love it too. Alex, Joe, you scored at the Den more recently than Bradders, and it wasn't even a penalty, Alex. It was an open play. How'd you like that, eh? Oh my God, yeah, I'm quite happy about that. Rosalind, sorry, Rosalind, I didn't mean to be rude there earlier, but they asked the question. I had to explain myself, but I'm not like that anymore. I'm a happily married man, and that was my pass. My pass will pass. Craig saying it was his hamstring for Bradders, I believe. We agree. Jeff, also on the coaching side of things, Harris is the only one as players who was a forward. Barrett and Livermore were defensive players, and that shows. Again, I think it's been mentioned quite a few times over the years about our coaching staff. It was worse when Ramett was in charge because he was a right back, weren't he, as a footballer, Steve? And, you know, it's a case that we had no one who had any attack mind really to it. And what's really interesting is that when Langstaff signed, he made a big point about Harris being, you know, what a great striker for Millwall, how you can learn from him as a coach and stuff like that. So do you expect to see more? I mean, do you think we're getting more in attacking threat under Harris at the moment in charge?
As a team or from Langstaff?
As a team, everyone really, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Look, the goals we're scoring shows you that. We're not free-flowing, bloody attack-minded football, but certainly, I said before, you know, Rowett was bloody boring as hell, and I definitely think we are doing. On Langstaff, I think the good thing for him, he's got movement. The guy is moving. He is trying to find space. He did something.
He's trying. He's a trier, isn't he? You give him that.
Yeah. At Hull, I think he tried too hard last night, to be honest. But at Hull, there was a long throw for the 3 minutes he was on, but he peeled round the back, and the defender just got a header on it. Otherwise, he was free on goal. I just think he's a natural goal scorer. He's one of them. He will find space and score. And as somebody said earlier, get his first goal, we're off and running. That's what we need.
Exactly. Angelo, what can we do to get to 1,000 subscribers? Is there anything you could offer our listeners? I mean, I'm not asking you to sort of run around the room and do a streak for us, but surely we could kind of, like, you know, sort of get something going, sort of try and entice them in to make this. How can we incentivize them to get to 1,000? We're 4 away, guys. We're only 4 subs away.
Get all your children, your wives, your girlfriends, your boyfriends. Get them to click the button. Doesn't cost anything, does it?
It doesn't.
I'm totally confident when Chat with Chaps wakes up tomorrow morning, he'll see that 1,000 there. I'm pretty confident.
I really hope so, guys. I really hope so. Yeah. And again, guys, to Angelo's point there, please, you know, if you've got family members, brothers, sisters, cousins, mums, dads, kids, anyone like that, could you please just text them now, you know, and just say, do us a favour, subscribe to Chat with Chaps on YouTube. We're 4 away to get to 1,000. It means a lot to us as Millwall fans. Please do it. So, yeah, I was hoping we could end this show on 1,000. At the moment, I think we're about 3 or 4 away. So, whether it's going to happen or not, I don't know. I mean, have we got enough content left in us, guys, to keep this going to get to 1,000? I'd just love to do it. I'd love to do it for us. We've got about 55 currently on at the moment, which is quite a decent amount.
Just don't want to drag it on, but like, look,
we don't want to drag it on, but have we got enough content to keep going to get us over that limit? I don't know how we're getting on. Adam White, absolutely love channels like Joe's. Nice to hear from other long-suffering fans. Adam, couldn't agree with you more, mate. It's been a tough journey for us, isn't it? I feel like these youngsters, you know, that started supporting Millwall the last sort of few years have got it good, Angelo. I mean, your kids are what, 20? Is it 20?
27 and 23, yeah.
23. So I guess, you know, they've probably seen a bit of a rough time in their earlier time at being a Millwall fan, but certainly the last sort of 5-6 years, it's been good though, no?
My oldest boy, he was just about old enough. He came to Old Trafford when we beat Sunderland in the FA Cup semi-final. That was an unbelievable day. My younger son, who you've met, Joe, he was too young to come to that game. But you know, we've got something that I hope that they get one day, is that I've seen them in the top flight, you know, for 2 seasons, which was like in the old days, mate. Obviously, we never had phones, we never had internet. So, like when we beat QPR 3-2, when we went top of the league, I couldn't wake up early enough the next morning to run down the newspaper shop to get a paper, and I just stared at it all day.
Was it South London Press? Was it used to get as well?
No, it was the News of the World. It's the News of the World. So, because I ran to the news, got the News of the World, and I literally just stared at it all day, mate. Millwall above Arsenal, above Liverpool, above Man City, above everybody, mate. We're top of the league.
It was an amazing time. You know, you can imagine, like back in those days, you know, Millwall were this team that they felt we didn't deserve to be in the top flight. We shouldn't be there, and we did it. And we did it through playing good football. Yeah, we had a really, really good team there. We're scoring goals for fun. Yeah, we're good on the eye. And we have some decent players. And those players like Cascarino, Sheringham, and one or two others went on to sort of bigger and better things, and rightly so, But certainly a good time for us, wasn't it? How are we doing on the old subs, guys? Are we going to end it there? Are we going to give up on this one?
Moving Joe is the problem.
Are we? Can we say how we're getting on?
Because we're still on 996.
996, right? So we haven't really moved forward. No. So guys, you're not listening to me. You're not calling your mums and dads. You're not telling your kids they can stay up for extra half an hour and try and get them to subscribe. We need to do this, guys. We need to get on this and make it happen, because if we could get to 1,000 before we switch off, probably the next sort of 5 minutes, that'll be really, really something. So if you could do it for us, guys, please do it. And just think, you could be on the live. You could say, you know what? When Chat with Chaps got 10,000 subscribers and we desperately needed 1,000, you could say, I was there on the day, on that live, when we got Chat with Chaps to 1,000 and we started donating money to charity, to cancer research. You could say you were a part of that. So come on, guys, what's it going to be? We've got Joe, 5 minutes.
You should interview as well. Interview number 1,000, mate. Get him on the show.
I will do that. Do that. Whoever the 1,000 subscriber is, I will interview you, and we'll sit down and we'll talk about our struggles as being a Millwall fan and how shit it's been over the years, and But no, in all seriousness,
Joe will have some 12-year-old little girl going, "Rush Millwall."
My dad just told me to press the button.
I'll tell you what, I'll even play Minecraft with your kids, okay? I'll play Minecraft, and I fucking hate Minecraft, but I'll even do it if they can get to 1,000 subscribers. So go on, do your best for us. Guys, are we going to leave it there? Are we going to draw a line? What's your last thoughts before we leave, Angelo, and we'll go to you next, Steve?
Yeah, I think I'm confident we'll have the 1,000 by the morning, mate. But
do you think so?
I think we'll struggle to get them now. Yeah, because people will be coming home and they'll whack the video on, and we've all mentioned it 100,000 times. Hopefully, they'll press that button when they're watching it later. So I'm so confident that tomorrow morning it will show 1,000. Really am.
Yeah. Is that for you, Steve, that message there?
Oh,
Jeff,
fucking hell.
I thought he'd gone to bed. Jesus Christ. Jeff ask Steve, why did he miss the Blackburn game when we had already won the second division title? Is that the Blackburn game where we got smashed like 4-1 at home?
And the lineman on the stand.
Yes.
And because we lost, Palace didn't get in the playoffs, if you remember. Blackburn.
Right. So maybe there's a reason why.
It was quite good. But that was the day I actually got married, believe it or not. So
was it? So you had a good enough excuse for it, didn't you?
I mean, God knows how I managed to book my wedding. My wife swears blind. I booked the wedding day. Yeah, right. But it was the last game of the season. But I was at Hull away for the actual promotion, so which was the bank holiday Monday before. So thanks for that, Jeff. I hope you subscribe, and Coralie, your missus.
Yes, you hear that, Jeff? Make sure you get on it, mate, and subscribe. Guys, I think we're gonna have to wrap it up. Unfortunately, we've been on for about an hour and 45 minutes. We're supposed to be on for an hour. But I know say time goes fast when you're having fun, but that wasn't the plan, was it, Angelo and Steve? We were supposed to be on there for an hour. And we've gone 45 minutes over. I mean, fuck me. That's a lot of injury time, isn't it?
Fergie time.
Fergie time. No substitutes as well.
No, exactly. So, guys, big game Saturday. Massive game. I don't think it's like win or bust at all. I think it's too early in the season for us to get too worried and panic. And like you guys have been saying throughout the show, we've seen enough quality in our performances to warrant a win and do well against Sheffield Wednesday. And I think with Tanganga back, Cooper back, we know that Leonard's going to play well, Joe Bryan's going to play well, and everyone will start playing better. We've got our strongest team out there. My only question mark is what we would do up front with Langstaff on his own. We haven't really got, again, a lot of substance up front. But I think we've got enough in us to do the business. So is there anything you want to leave us with? Go to you first, Angelo, before we wrap up. And what's your thoughts on the the game on Saturday against Sheffield Wednesday?
It should be a great game, mate, because like I said earlier, Sheffield Wednesday, they're a massive club. They'll fill up the away end, which will create a great atmosphere, which will bring out the best of the Millwall fans. And I just hope that we got the big fucking Serbian on the bench, mate.
That would be unbelievable. I think Harris alluded to in his interview yesterday, didn't he? He said not just about getting a signing in before Friday, it's getting one before 12 o'clock midday on Friday, so they can play on the Saturday. So you can see where his head's at. And I've got a funny feeling that he's going to try and do something. He's going to make something happen. He's going to push his hardest. And
also because he's watching our channel, I hope we get our young little Scouser in as well.
Yes, exactly.
And we'll show his brother that that he'll get looked after.
Oh my God, Jasper, don't do this to me, mate. We're up to 997 now. Fuck me.
Jasper's going to keep us on now for another half hour.
Jasper, is there any more Danish Millwall fans out there who can subscribe to our channel, please? If there's anyone else out there in Denmark,
is he an hour behind or an hour ahead over there? Is that?
I think he's about either the same or about an hour ahead, maybe. Who knows? But Steve, anything you want to end off with before we wrap things up?
No, look, good show. Thanks, Joe. Brilliantly hosted. And look, I will echo the guys. Look, please subscribe. It is massive and for a great cause. And as you say, Chris Chaps is doing a great job with this. But for me, the closing thing would be, look, what Bomber said last night. Saturday, it's not make or break, but we could do with going, getting a good result and getting a bit of feel-good factor. So we all need to be united as fans, players, management, everything, and have a proper Millwall home game win, and it'd be nothing better than Saturday night. Oh, dear.
Oh my God.
Oh, dear.
Don't do this to me. My missus is probably sitting there at the moment thinking, where the fuck is he? He's only supposed to be about an hour.
Has she subscribed, mate?
She's probably clock watching. That's a good point, actually. Yeah. I'm not too scared to text her because she probably asked where I am. We're now. Oh my God! No, don't do this to me.
Oh!
Don't do this to me.
Who's going to be number 1,000? Come on.
No,
really?
Come on,
really?
Guys. Oh my God!
1K. 1K.
Get in there, son. Get in there.
Last minute winner, boys. Last minute winner.
Fucking yes. That's almost good as fucking Morrison scoring in the fucking playoff final. Guys, that is so good. Guys, thanks so much. Thanks to you two. Thanks to Angelo. Thanks to Steve for coming on, helping us get there. Thanks to listeners. Guys, we so appreciate you doing this for us. I mean, it's just amazing. Honestly, I feel like I can shed a tear at the moment. It's just, honestly, it's so fucking good.
Love it.
Oh, well who was the 1,000? Yes,
I'm sure Chris can find out.
Macaulay Langstaff.
Was it? He can't fucking score for Toffee, but he could get us 1,000.
No, it was the big fucking Serbian, mate. It was the big fucking
It was. With his head. It was giving good head. Oh, my God.
Well done, guys. Well
guys, that is amazing. Amazing, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you to our listeners on behalf of Chat and Chaps.
Oh, it's Scanlon.
Unfortunately, we're going to wrap up now, but we're leaving on a high. I'm so pleased, guys.
It was our Liverpool guy.
He's done it.
Oh, was it really?
Yeah.
I think it might have been our Liverpool guy.
Yes.
Told you.
Go on, son.
My brother, subscribe. Well done, mate. Well done. So good.
See you down the den. See you down the den.
Brilliant. See you down there soon. Guys, so good. Loads of comments coming through. I want to try and catch you all before we switch off. Just want to say thank you to everyone that's commenting. That's helped us. Fucking brilliant.
That's
guys, I got a comment coming through. Guess who it's from? It's only from the fucking governor himself.
Oh, the governor.
Get in there.
The B team are running for you, chaps. The B team.
Well done, Chris.
Chris, you've the Millwall fans have done it for you, mate. The Millwall family are the best supporters you'll ever get. And when we need them, time and time and time again. Doesn't matter when it is, they always deliver for us. And tonight they did it for us. Thanks to Steve and Angelo for the content and for answering everyone's questions. Really appreciate that, guys. Listeners, thank you so much. So happy we did it. So happy we did it. Well done, everyone. Guys, I'm gonna wrap it up there because these comments ain't gonna stop coming through. And I feel bad not displaying everyone's comments. So, guys, thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of your week. I hope to see you down there on Saturday. Angelo, I'll probably see you at the Blue Bus. And listeners, guys, if you're about and want to meet us, say hello and have a chat, talk Millwall, and we always hang around the Blue Bus like a bad smell. So we'll be there. Hopefully we'll see you. It'd be nice to meet you all. And guys, thank you so much. Like I said, on behalf of Chris Chapman, thank you very much.
Guys.
Well done all. Thank you.
Take care.
Cheers, guys.
Bye-bye.